What's up everybody, Eyecee here and welcome to another NBA video. This one is for November 6th, 11 game slate. Before I get right into it, a quick recap into my night last night. Overall, fantastic night for me. Cashed in everything, 100% in my cash games. This was my cash lineup. LeBron James, Brogdon, Lamb, Goga, Tristan Thompson, all were fantastic. KCP, LaMarcus Aldridge left much to be desired, but at their ownership, I didn't mind. Gary Harris tried to sink me, but I managed to stay afloat because Anthony Davis put up the stinker of all stinkers. This was a single entry lineup I was in. I switched Lamb for TJ Warren, and I switched Gary Harris for Will Barton, so that ended up working up really well for me. I wasn't coming in first here because I didn't have Devontae Graham and Gordon Hayward in the lineup together. However, I could have came in second if Jamal Murray would just pass Will Barton the goddamn ball instead of ball hogging it the whole fourth quarter for those last 7 minutes that were on the court. But yeah, everything Will Barton did was basically in the first 3 quarters. He was elevated by Gary Harris and Paul Millsap's injury. But yeah, that worked out in my favor, and that's what DFS is all about. So I got a good return yesterday, and I know you guys aren't here for all of that. You guys are here for today's take. Hopefully I can identify some plays that really helped me profit yesterday. So without any further ado, let's get right into this. But as always, if you guys are new here to the channel or if you still haven't subscribed, if you like anything I have to say, please do hit that like and subscribe button like right now. I'd really appreciate it. It's the only thing that helps me grow. Everything I do here is free. I don't charge anybody anything. I spend a lot of time doing research and coming up with my own notes. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys could hit that like button and subscribe. And also, if you do subscribe and hit the like button, then I promise you're going to have a very good lineup tonight and you're going to win a lot of money. If you don't do it, then I don't know. Anyways, today's slate, Washington Wizards versus the Indiana Pacers. So the Indiana Pacers, coming off of a heartbreak overtime loss, they were really in control of the game for the first 3 quarters. The Hornets made a comeback in the fourth quarter, led by Terry Rozier, Devontae Graham. Brogdon had the opportunity to seal the deal in the fourth quarter with the game-winning shot that just didn't go in. So they lost in overtime. They're here on a back-to-back. They have a lot of injury news here that we have to consider. Sabonis, Sumner, Turner, McDermott, all questionable. So really important to keep an eye on the news today for the Indiana Pacers. However, starting with the Washington Wizards, my favorite play would be Troy Brown if he's going to be starting. His minutes have been increasing, and it's boding well for this young kid. He's been very productive in the minutes he's been on the court, and as his minutes increase, his production should increase. He's seeing a good amount of usage for when he's on the court. And honestly, if he's going to be starting, definitely someone I'm going to be considering. He's a high flyer. He's not scared of the competition. He's very competitive, aggressive, just the type of player I like to target. 4,500 is a little bit up there in my opinion. However, it's a reasonable price for someone with so much upside that might be starting. If he's starting, he's definitely the guy I like. Aside from that, the other guy I really am keen on the Wizards is Davis Bertans. 3,900 is a fantastic price for this guy. He's playing around 28 minutes per game. His 3-point shot is by far one of the more beautiful shots in the league. It's a work of art. He's a fantastic quick release. It comes out of his hands so quick, so smooth. It looks so nice. He's taking the most 3-point attempts on this team at the highest rate. He has humongous upside if his shot's falling. He also gets you peripheral strats, and he's on the court for a decent amount of the time if the game is close. Definitely someone they depend on this team, and definitely someone that's really carving out a role for him. Aside from that, Bradley Beal, Thomas Bryant, Isaiah Thomas, all of these 3 guys I would be considering, but not as much as other nights. If I had to pick one guy out of these 3 guys I mentioned, it would be Thomas Bryant. I really like Thomas Bryant as a player. I really like his upside, his personality, his persona. So far, he's gone up against some of the toughest centers in the league. Check it out. And he's held his own in most of those games. So he's the real deal. He's a young guy, up-and-coming star in this league. He's in a fantastic matchup here if Sabonis manages to stay out and he ends up matching up with Goga. So definitely someone I'm going to be considering. Keep an eye on the news for the Sabonis news. Isaiah Thomas over Bradley for me, because Isaiah Thomas, we all know what he can do. His price is a little bit more reasonable based on the upside he has. Bradley Beal at 8,600, I would get to some other people over Bradley Beal, but definitely in consideration. He has real 60-70 DraftKings points upside. However, the matchup here, he's going to be up against Brogdon, who does play some decent defense, and he's going to be having to share the ball a lot more with Isaiah on the court and Troy Brown as well. So that kind of limits his usage or lowers it a little bit in my opinion. But Bradley Beal is Bradley Beal, man. He's the star of the team. He's definitely going to get his shots up, and he's going to get you peripheral stats. He's going to go out there and compete, and as long as he's playing his minutes, he's definitely in consideration. Aside from that, Mo Wagner, Rui Hachimura, honorable mentions. Both of these guys can get it done for you. However, the coach is really limiting Rui's minutes. He also has foul trouble history. Mo Wagner's a guy that does a little bit of everything on the court. So another guy I wouldn't totally fade, but I'd have consideration for him based on the price. The floor is kind of risky, but the upside is definitely there, so it's a GPP play for me. And same thing with CJ Miles. He played his first game of the year last game, 19 minutes. Played really well, bare minimum price. Someone that could definitely get it done for you in GPP. If his shots falling, if his minutes are going to be increased, then definitely someone to look at going forward. So he's my honorable mention. Jordan McRae is questionable, so keep an eye on the news. If Jordan McRae is out, then I guess CJ Miles is going to get the same amount of minutes he did last game, if not more. On the Indiana Pacers, who are on a back-to-back, I'm pretty sure Sabonis plays, but if he doesn't, then Goga Bitadze is my favorite play on the slate. Not on the slate, sorry, on this team. So what I saw from him was, yeah, he gets into foul troubles, but this guy has a real not superstar upside, but he's a star in the making in this league. He goes out, he blocks shots. He's a very strong-bodied guy. It's very hard to move him or anything. He was very dominant when he was matched up with the Hornets players yesterday. And yeah, they were the Hornets players, but even the previous game, I saw that from him. He's a tougher guy. He's a bigger body. He's heavier, and he kind of just has his way with people. Just that he does get into foul trouble because he's trying to block shots. But hey, that's a good upside to have, a guy that tries to block shots. So he got a good amount of blocks just last game. I think he got 3 blocks yesterday. 4 blocks yesterday. So he has that upside. It's just a foul trouble. But even then, like, he fouled out of the game in overtime yesterday. But, I mean, he did good. He didn't play in overtime. So all those stats he had were before overtime. So if Sabonis is out again, then definitely I'm going to go. However, if Sabonis is in, then I'm going to be considering Sabonis with no Miles Turner. 8,300 for Sabonis with no Miles Turner is just a crazy, crazy good price and good matchup against the Wizards, who have been giving it up to the big mans in general. So Sabonis is a guy I like based on that. But if he's out, I'm all in on Goga again. TJ Warren and Jeremy Lamb, both of these guys are in play for me if Sabonis, Miles Turner, all those guys are out just like yesterday. I feel like Jeremy Lamb personally will have the best game out of Malcolm Brogdon, TJ Warren, and himself, but it could be either one of these three because all three of these guys see a decent amount of usage. Malcolm Brogdon is obviously the star with Oladipo out and Sabonis out. He saw a tremendous increase in usage yesterday. He has real triple-double upsides on some nights. He's getting double-double upside for sure with the assists. He leads the league in assists. He's second in the league in drives to the basket. First in the league in passes off of drives. So he's someone that's been very, very productive. He's in the upper echelons of the players this year so far to start the year. So definitely in consideration. 8,100 is a little bit cheap for him in my opinion if Sabonis is out. If Sabonis is in, then it's reasonable, if not a little bit high on the higher end. But yeah, definitely those guys I'm going to be looking at and going to. On-roll mentioned to Justin Holiday, who's been playing off the bench and getting consistent minutes off the bench. 3,400 is a reasonable price for him, especially it's a back-to-back. Some of these guys might get limited or reduced minutes, so that'll really bump Justin Holiday up. So keep an eye on the news for that. Next game of the night, we have the New York Knicks versus the Detroit Pistons. So the Knicks actually play defense. A lot of their games haven't been as high-scoring as past games from last year's, but this year so far, the Knicks have made it a key thing that the guys on the court are actually actively trying to play defense. Led by Julius Randle, Marcus Morris, and Bobby Portis when they're on the court. These guys are all competitive guys, and they go out there and play defense. RJ Barrett's buying into it. His defense is not that great, but he has good length, great size player for playing defense, so he's doing it too. And then between Ntilikina and whoever the starting point guard is, whoever has been playing defense is the guy that's been getting minutes. All those things said, RJ Barrett's the guy I'm really looking at here, 6,700. His usage is incredible. The minutes are great. The matchup is going to be fantastic with no Derrick Rose or what's the other guy's name? Tim Frazier or even Reggie Jackson again. He's going to be going up against Bruce Brown, Langston Galloway. These guys are decent defenders, but they do have foul trouble, particularly Bruce Brown. He could get into foul trouble, but I mean, these guys aren't great defenders. RJ Barrett's going to have a little bit of an easier time than he has in the past few games. I love the price. I love the minutes. I love the usage. I love RJ Barrett. Julius Randle, Marcus Morris, the other two guys I'm going to be looking at. Marcus Morris is going to be playing against his twin brother. I don't know how that really works out. From what I remember in the past, I don't think their mom likes it when one brother does better than the other. I'm just kidding. But yeah, Marcus Morris has been the better twin out of the two guys, man. 5,900 for him. He's been playing starter minutes. What do you call 35, 36 minutes a game? They're more than starter minutes, man. This guy is just basically, that's his position. He's just been getting a tremendous amount of usage. I never thought I'd see Marcus Morris with this much usage, but I guess this is why he wanted to join this team. He's really the leader of this team. He's the oldest guy. Well, aside from Taj, who doesn't really play, but he is the oldest guy on the court in the starting lineup. He's the most competitive. He's more competitive and feisty than Julius Randle and Bobby Portis. I don't even think he listens to Fizdale when Fizdale asks him to go on the bench. He just stays on the court. So definitely someone I'm going to be considering. His brother really let us down, so I'm hoping he doesn't let me down. But definitely I'm going to consider him at 5,900. He's been playing really, really well. He has my respect. Julius Randle coming off of 2 mediocre games. His price is dropping again, which is why I'm considering him. 6,900 is really great for Julius Randle. We know what he's about. He can get you 50 DraftKings points on any given night. It's just a matter of his shot dropping and then being a little bit more productive on the rebounding end. Bobby Portis, Mitchell Robinson, get my honorable mentions here. Bobby Portis has been starting and getting more minutes. Mitchell Robinson's the more productive guy in limited minutes. I can see both of these guys getting the same DraftKings score at their price. Bobby Portis would be the safer bet with his minutes. However, he is playing with the first team. I like Bobby Portis when he's coming off the bench. So I think Bobby Portis actually is coming off the bench. They already gave us their lineup yesterday. So I'm pretty sure I saw Mitchell Robinson in the starting lineup. So with Bobby Portis coming off the bench, knowing that he's going to be playing more minutes than Mitchell Robinson, I like Bobby Portis because that means he's going to be going up against the other team's bench and not have much of the stars with him. So his usage increases periodically throughout the game. The other two guys I'm going to be considering is Knox and Ntilikina. Ntilikina's price is kind of up there now, so it's kind of really risky based on the 4K price. He really needs to get you 24 DraftKings points for you to be happy. There's other guys here that will probably be safer than Ntilikina. Kevin Knox, on the other hand, he's been getting a good amount of minutes, and he's risky too, but he definitely has upside. Some of the half of the games he's really went over value, and the other half of the games he's been somewhat either really below value or just at value. So not as risky compared to Ntilikina. Definitely someone I'm going to be keeping my eye on. Kevin Knox, he was their top draft pick last year, so really someone that they want to develop and get going. So I have my eye on him. Of course, Alfred Payton, Dennis Smith are out, but they don't really mean much. On the Detroit side, Andre Drummond, without a doubt, would be my favorite player on this team. He's been killing it so far this season. A real beast. Kind of a letdown last game. Should have done a much better job towards the end of the game. But hey, it happens. He still got a 5x value for that price. He's almost 11K now, which kind of makes us start thinking. But his usage has been crazy, and with Derrick Rose, Reggie Jackson, Tim Frazier all out, it's only going to get higher or be at least the same as it was last game, which is higher than average. So he's definitely in consideration. His minutes have been safe. He hasn't really been getting into foul trouble like he had in the past. So he's definitely someone that's been very consistent. I'm confident going with tomorrow. Luke Kennard would be the other guy. He's taking a lot of shots. His usage really went up with Derrick Rose out of the lineup yesterday. His price has also gone up, which is why I'm not really too high on him. Otherwise, I'd be all over Luke Kennard today. But the 6K price point really kind of just makes me think about it more and doesn't make me go crazy about him. But the upside is definitely there. The usage is going to be there. The minutes are going to be there. The matchup is going to be there. So someone I'm definitely going to be looking at. Aside from that, Bruce Brown's price has gone up to 5,300. The minutes are still going to be there. He played around 40 minutes last game again. He killed it last game. 2 games in a row now, which is why his price took such a big jump. I'd consider him, but at 5,300, I'd rather go to Troy Brown personally. But Bruce Brown definitely going to be one of the more favorable plays on the slate. It's just the price is really going to put him off for some people, so that's just to consider. And Markieff Morris, the bum, the guy that burned all of us, he got into foul trouble. He played like 9 minutes. I'm pretty sure if he didn't get into foul trouble, he would have played because they were really short on talent. They had to really give a lot of minutes to Mihailo Kier last game, and he's not someone I really like. He played 27 minutes. He does have upside, and if he's going to be playing those minutes, he's in consideration, but his ownership is going to be so low that even if you fade him and don't, like, it's not going to kill you. Marquise Morris definitely should be getting the bulk load of minutes so long as he stays out of foul trouble. He is going up against his brother after all, his twin brother, identical twin brother. So he's going to be a little bit more motivated to maybe perform and not get into foul trouble too much. The next game, probably my favorite game to watch tomorrow, is the Toronto Raptors versus the Sacramento Kings. This should be a very pace-up match in my opinion. The Raptors have been playing at a very fast pace. So, starting with the Sacramento Kings, Marvin Bagley is still out. Harry Giles is questionable, but not someone I'm really considering. My favorite play on the Kings would be their stars, Fox and Hield. Fox would be my go-to guy tomorrow over Hield. However, Hield could also get it done because he's been taking a lot of three-point shots, and the Raptors' perimeter defense so far to start the year hasn't been that fantastic. Buddy Hield is very cheap at 6,400 in my opinion. He hasn't hit value in some of the games. He's a guy that gets on and off, but I think this is a good matchup for Buddy Hield, and this is a spot where he could really take off. 6,400 is a reasonable price for him, and someone I'd be considering tomorrow. De'Aaron Fox, the other guy, I like De'Aaron Fox more than Buddy Hield tomorrow because he's going to be up against Lowry and Van Vliet. Van Vliet's a better defender than Lowry, so De'Aaron Fox is very fast, and he's going to have opportunity to get to the line at least a lot more than previous games. He's also going to be in a faster-paced matchup, and he's really going to help him utilize his speed. So definitely consideration for me. Aside from that, there's a lot of guys here that I could look at. Barnes and Bielitsa would be the next guys on my pecking order. Barnes has been very consistent, and someone definitely is in play at the price. 5,200 is really reasonable for him. He's basically like T.J. Warren was yesterday instead of Lamb. So instead of going with Buddy Hield, you could go with Harrison Barnes, save $1,200 and still maybe get the same production out of him as Buddy Hield. So definitely a good pivot. Bielitsa has been very consistent. 2 really good games out of the last 3. His minutes are also really good. The price is getting up there now, which really makes me think about before playing him, which is why I'm not too high on him tonight. Richaun Holmes, the other guy, 5,800 is a fair price for the amount of production we've been getting out of him. He's going to be going up against Ibaka and Siakam a lot tomorrow. I don't mind the matchups per se, but it is going to be a little bit of a tougher spot for him. The Raptors' bigs are pretty good defensively, and even though Marc Gasol has been crap so far this season, he is a good defender, and they are going to make it tough on Richaun Holmes compared to his previous matchups. Dwayne Dedmon is the honorable mention. He's benched, but he has decent upside. If he's going to start over Richaun Holmes, I'd go over the field for him, but I doubt he starts based on what we've been seeing out of Richaun Holmes. And Richaun Holmes was one of their acquisitions in the offseason and one of their key pieces in the acquisition. He was supposed to be a 6-man type of guy, but with the injury to Bagley, he's thrust into the starting lineup, and he's been fulfilling all the hopes that the Kings had for him when they signed him. On the Raptors side, Siakam and Van Vliet are the 2 guys I'm looking at. Siakam hasn't really been that great aside from the first game of the season. He's been getting into a lot of foul trouble, but definitely I can see myself getting to Siakam tomorrow at 8K in this matchup. Very fast-paced matchup. Really going to be hard to defend someone like Siakam for the Kings, so I'm going to be getting to a lot of Siakam. Probably one of my favorite mid-tier studs. Van Vliet, 6,300. Man, his minutes are really, really good. His price is good, and if he gets hot, he can smash it. So I personally think Van Vliet has a better night than Lowry tomorrow. However, Lowry's been really hot, and from the last 3 years, Lowry's always hot at the start of the year. Lowry plays his best basketball at the start of the year when he's fully healthy and ready to go. He's a fully healthy Kyle Lowry. He is 33 years old now, but so far, nothing slowing him down. He's been playing at a very, very high level, high rate, taking a lot more shots with Kawhi and Danny Green out of the lineup. So I don't mind Kyle Lowry either. These would be the 3 Raptors I'll be getting to personally. Marc Gasol and Ibaka are on the fence for me. Personally, I don't like Serge prices here, but he's been playing way better than Gasol. Gasol has been really poor. I don't mind actually playing some Gasol here and going against the field here. He's going to be really low owned based on his past performances, and this is a matchup where he can really get it going. It's been a couple of days since these guys played, so I'm hoping Gasol found his groove, and at 5,200, Gasol could definitely get it done. He has real 35, 40 DraftKings points upside. This matchup may dictate it. So definitely could be in play. However, I wouldn't be too keen on it because the Kings could also switch it up and go small and really take us off the court, which is why Ibaka's price has been raised, because DraftKings already knows that's pretty much what's going to happen. They've already accounted for it. So Gasol would be the risky play, but definitely on the fence with him. Haven't really made up my mind. But I really like him mainly because he's been so bad, and he's not that bad of a player. So he's bound for a rebound. Honorable mention to Norman Powell, who's been a stellar force off the bench like every other year in the past. He's been playing decently well, getting good amount of minutes. At 4K, if his shot falls, he could definitely smash it for you. He was essentially what Van Vliet was last year, the sixth man. So he definitely has upside. It's a little risky. Sometimes he doesn't see the fourth quarter at all, so there's that. Next game of the night, probably the highest scoring game of the night, the Golden State Warriors versus the Houston Rockets, who were embarrassed a couple of games ago against the Heat. So starting with the Golden State Warriors, this was really tough for me. I know there's value here. I know some of these guys are gonna do good, but it's really risky because we have such a short sample size. We don't really know much about these guys, which is exactly why I watched all of these guys' preseason games again and watched the games from the previous games again. And watching those games again, man, Kai Bowman, man, this guy is a super aggressive player. I love this guy. He almost fought Whiteside, man. His price is $5,900, but any guard against Westbrook and Harden who don't really play defense, who play at a very fast pace, who turn the ball over a lot, and are very efficient with their shots, give a lot of opportunity for the opposing point guard to have the ball in their hands and get more offensive upside. So Kai Bowman, just based on those, would be in play. And then on top of what I saw from him in the previous game, I really like what I saw, and definitely I'll be going to Kai Bowman tonight. I'll probably be with the field with him. Or I'll probably be with the field on him. So definitely someone I'll be going to. Jordan Poole, on the other hand, I said in my past video, Jordan Poole one of these days is going to kill the slate when his shot's falling. His shot wasn't falling last game, but he got 29.75 DraftKings points. He was 3-4-16, but he ended up getting a lot of peripheral stats. A lot of people have been saying Jordan Poole is a crap player, but those people don't watch basketball. They just tell you who to pick based on numbers. So you guys should be really be careful when you're listening to a lot of these experts telling you who to pick, because they don't even watch the games. They don't even play the lineups. They just look at numbers, and they're good numbers people, so they just read the numbers and tell you favorable stuff. But they were completely wrong about Jordan Poole, man. Klay Thompson said in a TNT post-game interview that Jordan Poole beat him in a shootout. And yeah, Klay Thompson's injured and all that, but it was a standing shootout, not much movement, and he beat Klay Thompson, who's one of the best shooters in our league. That's saying something. The games I've seen Jordan Poole play, he's a competitive guy. He's not scared or shy to take his shots. If his shot's not falling, he'll still take the shots. His 3-4-16 is indicative of that. Look at his game logs. He takes a lot of shots. He just hasn't been making them. But one of these days, they're going to be falling, and he's just going to kill the slate. $4,500 is a decent price. Probably one of my favorite other guys aside from Kai Bowman on the Warriors. Eric Paschall is their best young guy on this team, in my opinion. Definitely should get a pay raise. I can't believe he makes $900,000 right now. This guy has been killing it since the preseason. He did have one or two bad games between the preseason and now, but just watching him play day in and day out, every time I watch the Golden State Warriors, he's someone that always sticks out to me. I always just get drawn to him, and I just keep my eye on him because I just like what I see from him. He's doing the right things. He's making the right plays. He's competitive. He's going out there. He's doing what the coaches want him to do. He's someone that's definitely going to be carving a role for him for the foreseeable future, and someone I'm going to be playing a lot. Glenn Robinson is my on-the-fence guy. I know what he can do. I know he can get it done. It's just a little risky with the low floor. And Damian Lee, honorable mention. He's coming off the bench, and he's the most productive guy on the bench. So he's honorable mention for me. I wouldn't mind getting to some of him. $4,300 is a reasonable price. So there's that. The only other thing we got to keep an eye on is D'Angelo Russell is questionable. He may play, but I highly doubt he plays. I don't know why he would play. All right. The Houston Rockets. So Westbrook, Harden, both of these guys are in play for me. Harden's usage went through the roof without that one game with Westbrook. However, with Westbrook back, it's going to come back down to earth. They're both sitting around 33% usage. D'Antoni's staggering their minutes. I like Westbrook over Harden. Westbrook had a real stinker of a game. One of his worst games in recent memory. So definitely I'll be going to a lot of Westbrook tomorrow. It was his first bad game of the season too, but it was really bad. This is going to be a great matchup for him, a great spot. Golden State is actually going to be trying to play some defense here, as they showed in the previous game against Portland. Portland sucks. But Houston should have an easier time against Golden State Warriors. Their perimeter defense isn't going to be nearly great enough to stop some of these Rockets shooters. The only guys that could really stop the Rockets are themselves. We've seen it time and time again in the playoffs. The Rockets players just don't make their three-pointers. They take 100 threes and make 3 of them. So they're very capable of doing that again. Westbrook's not an efficient shooter as is, so they're really going to have to change their styles up for some of these games when their 3 points not falling. But yeah, Westbrook and Harden are definitely 2 of the guys I'm going to be going to tomorrow. Capella's the other guy. Golden State's been really bad against centers, and Capella's price is so juicy at 6,400 that I will 100% be considering him tonight. Daniel House's price is finally caught up to his upside. He's finally more expensive than PJ Tucker. It took them a goddamn while to do that, but I guess the people finally picked up on Daniel House. He's been the most consistent performer on the Houston Rockets. If you've been following my videos, I've been really high on Daniel House since he was 3K. Yeah, so Daniel House finally at 5,100. I can finally say he's priced enough where I actually think about playing him. He's still in consideration because he's the third guy. Basically, Eric Gordon hasn't been doing anything. Austin River hasn't been that great. Daniel House has been that guy. He's more consistent than PJ Tucker, and PJ Tucker is just defending more than Daniel House on any given night. So, and Daniel House is a good defender too. So, all of those things considered, I am considering Daniel House, just not as much as I have been in the previous days. PJ Tucker, yeah, he's in play, but not really for me. He can get it done, but it's just very shooting dependent. He does get stats, but the shots are what really gets him his value. So if he's not getting his shots in, I don't like him. He is getting a lot more opportunities this year with Westbrook and Harden on the court, so there's that, but I'm not really too high on him. And Eric Gordon, Austin Rivers, honorable mention. Eric Gordon is questionable if Eric Gordon's out. I like Austin Rivers and Chris Clemens in that order. Austin Rivers should see a good usage bump and minutes bump, and he's someone that's shown in the past that he could get it done in limited minutes, so he's in consideration. And Chris Clemens, the leading scorer in college last year, who saw 2 minutes last game after 24 minutes in the previous blowout game. I'm not really too sure he sees too many minutes here with Westbrook and Harden really back here. The only way he'd see minutes if either one of those guys really got into foul trouble or injured, which I'm not really willing to bet on. So he's really down in the pecking order for me. However, if Eric Gordon's out, he'll get a little bit more look from me. The next game we have here is Chicago versus Atlanta. Really good game here, really cheap price guys, a really stackable game if this was a shorter slate, but lots of guys to get to here. Zach LaVine definitely would be the top guy I'd be going to. They blew their chance to beat the Lakers yesterday. They were destroying the Lakers until the Lakers bench really brought them back in the game. Like, oh my god. I tuned in just as the Lakers bench started making that 14-0 run, the start of it, so I was just sitting there in disbelief, praying Anthony Davis wouldn't like smash, but yeah. They kept Anthony Davis on the bench until the 5-minute mark. So Zach LaVine's the guy I'll be going to a lot. 7,200 is a great price for him. Point guards against Trae Young is always a trend, something that we target as DFS community. So Zach LaVine is going to be one of the higher owned people today just based on that. Kobe White, another guard. He's coming off the bench. Had a really good game last game. I'm hoping he keeps that momentum going against the Hawks, who suck against guards, play at a really fast pace. So Kobe White's another guy I really like. Aside from that, Lauri Markkanen's finally priced down where I will start considering him again. He has tremendous upside. He just hasn't been playing really well. However, he's been almost 5x value at this price, so definitely someone to consider against the Hawks for sure. Wendell Carter Jr., 5,600. This guy is a stud in the making. He gave Anthony Davis a real tough time yesterday. I'm serious. This guy is going to be a problem in a couple of years, man. 5,600, a great price for him in a fantastic matchup spot. The only thing is it's a back-to-back, and he did come back from an injury recently, so maybe they limit his minutes here. They do have some guys on the bench that they could give extended run to, like Thaddeus Young and all that. So Chris Chandler Hutchison saw a couple of minutes off the bench too yesterday's game, 15 minutes. So he's another guy going forward that could be in consideration, but they do have a lot of guards on this team, so I don't know how much thought we can give to Chandler Hutchison just yet. But Thaddeus Young is someone definitely to consider. He's been playing a decent amount of minutes for his price. 22.3 minutes, 4,500. We know what Thaddeus Young can do. It's just that he's been someone that's been monitored in the past too, and that's what really puts people off of him. But he's someone that could kill it on any given night. Not any given night, but on a particular night, he could definitely go out there and smash it. Not too keen on him, but based on some of these other guys and some of these other plays at this price point, but I'd give him an honorable mention. On the Atlanta side, Trae Young, I'm going back to him, but it is a back-to-back, so limitation may be a concern here. Keep an eye on the news. If the coach indicates there is going to be no limitation, Trae Young is good to go, then he is going to be good to go in my lineups. 9,100 is a great price for him. But yeah, I'd rather get to Westbrook, knowing that it's a lot safer. The matchup is better in my opinion. Even though Chicago's a great matchup, like, don't get me wrong, but Westbrook versus a bunch of scrubs versus, I'll go with Westbrook on most nights. But Trae Young has fantastic upside, phenomenal usage, 37% usage this kid is getting. And now with John Collins out, that'll only increase. It's just a minute limit today, otherwise he'd be a lock for me. DeAndre Hunter has been playing the most minutes aside from Trae Young and John Collins. DeAndre Hunter's been playing better and better each and every game. His price is still really low for the amount of upside he has. He's yet to really have that monster of a game yet, but it could happen tonight against Chicago. Definitely in consideration. Oh, sorry. One guy I didn't mention on Chicago was Otto Porter. He is questionable, and if he plays, I may be on the fence with him. It is a back-to-back, so keep an eye out on the news for Otto Porter as well. 4,500 is a great price for Otto Porter if he's not going to be limited and unrestricted. So definitely in consideration for me, but I'm expecting him to be limited tonight. After DeAndre Hunter, Jabari Parker, Cam Reddish. Jabari Parker's 6,700 price point just makes me want to throw up. I do not feel comfortable whatsoever at 6,700. His usage has gone up by a lot. However, 6,700 is a lot of money, and there's a lot of other plays I'd rather get to than Jabari Parker. But yeah, Jabari Parker, revenge game. He was on the Bulls for a little bit. He was stuck there. He's a revenge game narrative. So 6,700, man. Like, I want to roll the dice and play him, but 6,700 just seems way too much money for Jabari Parker after one game. But we know what Jabari Parker is about. We've seen him in the past. If you guys haven't, I've seen him in the past really go out there and smash it. He was a guy that had a lot of potential, but somewhere after those injury troubles, he's really, just trying to rebuild himself. So here's a good opportunity on the Hawks, but 6,700, man, it's a turnoff. Cam Reddish, I'd rather play Huerter over Cam Reddish because Huerter just has way more upside. Cam Reddish with Trae Young in the lineup just doesn't see as much usage. Huerter's minutes should be increasing, so he's in high consideration for me. Alex Len being the other guy I'm considering. Damian Jones is the guy that saw the most minutes as center yesterday. Alex Len consistently been seeing around 14 minutes a game, which is terrible. His price went up too, which I don't really like. It went up $100, but I still don't like the fact that it went up. And Damian Jones at minimum price in this matchup is someone I don't necessarily mind. I might consider him if we get any news or indication that Alex Len is going to continue to see the same amount of minutes. But yeah, Damian Jones definitely the guy I wouldn't mind getting to. I'd play him over Bruno Fernando as well. I just think he has more upside and more minutes as well. So I'd consider him over all three of these guys. But in all honesty, I probably wouldn't care about any one of these three guys tomorrow. There's just so many other guys on this slate. Next game we have here is Minnesota versus Memphis. And honestly, the only guy I really like is Karl Anthony Towns here. Jeff Teague might be out. He's questionable right now. If he's out, then I like Napier. If Shabazz Napier is also out, then I like Okogie. But honestly, they're all very risky here. Jeff Teague at 5,500 would probably be the best one. 5,500 is relatively cheap for him. He did get into foul trouble last game, and that's going to really scare people off of him. But he does have good upside. So if he's playing, I don't mind getting to Jeff Teague. However, tomorrow, Jarrett Culver could see some minutes tomorrow if Jeff Teague and Napier are also out. He's someone that was super productive in the preseason. He's minimum price almost, so I'll consider him based on that. I like his upside if he plays around 20 minutes against this Memphis Grizzlies team who's very young. Karl Anthony Towns, 10K, too damn cheap, 100% in play for me. He's back. He's going to be back with a vengeance. He had a fantastic start to the season before that WWE scrap with Embiid. So Karl Anthony Towns definitely in play. And Andrew Wiggins, I wouldn't mind playing some Andrew Wiggins if Jeff Teague and Napier are both out. 6,600 is a price that I would never ever pay for Wiggins, but granted the circumstances, definitely in consideration, especially against this young Memphis team with the John Morant who's trying to catch bodies. So that brings me on to the Memphis side. And my favorite play on the Memphis side is John Morant, who's trying to catch a body. He's going to get a body one of these days. He's been very, very close, and one of these days, he's just going out there. He's the next Westbrook, man. This guy is energetic, AF, high flyer, crazy passes, just plays very fast. I love watching him play. He's very entertaining. I definitely will be tuning into this game tomorrow. to catch a glimpse of some Ja Morant action and catching the full highlights after. But yeah, Ja Morant's my favorite play on the slate. 7,100 is not a bad price from whatsoever. His usage is there, the minutes are there, and he's been very productive. He's had a bad game here and there, but tomorrow, especially if Jeff Teague is out, I really like Ja Morant if Jeff Teague is out. And even if Jeff Teague is in, I still don't mind Ja Morant. He usually does bad in the first quarter, but then he picks it up in the second, third, or fourth. So I love Ja Morant. The other guy I really love here is Dillon Brooks. Grayson Allen's out. Dillon Brooks should just see a little bit more shots and usage as a whole. He gets 27 minutes already. He's the sixth man off the bench, and Dillon Brooks is someone that did really well last game and someone that does well often. He is a hit or miss guy. He's like Aaron Gordon. Some days he's really good, some days he's really bad. But with Grayson Allen out, he takes already like 15, 16 shots a game, so he's not scared to shoot it. He's going to go out there and make it rain, and if his shot's falling, he's going to smash it at this price. 4,900 is not a bad price for him whatsoever, so definitely consideration for me. But if Jaren Jackson is out, who is questionable right now, Jaren Jackson is questionable, then I don't mind going back to some Brandon Clark or even Bruno Caboclo. Bruno Caboclo played really well in the last game, 24 minutes, 27 DraftKings points. If Triple J is out, I will go with Caboclo over Clark for the price difference, $1,500 price difference. However, Brandon Clark, man, great potential. Caboclo also has great potential. Caboclo's been someone that has yet to fulfill his potential. He's been really hyped up for the last 3 years, but now Brandon Clark's on this team, and he's the next big thing. So he's the new name, and people have been hyping him up as well. So Brandon Clark or Caboclo, both these guys I'll be considering if Jaren Jackson is out. Jay Crowder came back to earth. I'm not really going to be picking Jay Crowder at 4,800. Not interested. He can get it done for sure, but not really that interested in Jay Crowder. Kyle Anderson has great upside but a low floor. So Kyle Anderson, I'm going to be considering Kyle Anderson at 4K, just not as much as I have been in the past. But with Grayson Allen out, with Jaren Jackson maybe out, with Jonas still limited, with Jay Crowder maybe not finding his shot, Kyle Anderson can definitely be in play. Wouldn't mind going to some Kyle Anderson at all. And then the last guy I'm going to touch up on here is Jonas Valanciunas. Jonas Valanciunas can mess around and win you a GPP in limited minutes, man. 6,100 is a crazy price for him. He's going to be going up against Towns, who he has had great games with in the past. It's very risky based on the limited minutes, but he definitely has the upside. It's definitely there, so definitely I'm considering Jonas Valanciunas in some capacity. I might be I might be just with the field on him tonight. Next game we're looking at is Orlando versus Dallas, and this one is going to be a little weird one in my opinion. Orlando's a very defense-oriented team. They play very slow. Dallas is a mediocre pace team in my opinion. With that said, my favorite play on the Orlando Magic tomorrow would be Jonathan Isaac. I'm not really too keen on anybody else, but Jonathan Isaac is the guy that I think is the second best player on this team. He's been the best guy in almost every single department. He's young and he's inconsistent at times, but the upside is definitely there. The price is reasonable. The usage is going to be going up in my opinion as the season progresses. However, a lot of times he is defending, so there might be a spot where he's spending a lot of time defending tomorrow and not really focusing on offense, but he definitely has a lot of upside and definitely my most favorable play on the Orlando Magic side. Aside from that, Aminu is someone that's been coming off the bench. He's 3,600. He's been low-key productive and been playing really well off the bench. So I'll be considering Aminu as well. Markelle Fultz is now in the starting lineup, and Steve Clifford doesn't just make changes to the starting lineup without a good reason. He's like what he's seen from Markelle Fultz as of high, and definitely in consideration for me at 4,100 against this Dallas Mavericks team. I don't mind getting to some Markelle Fultz. Vucevic is always in play. 7,900 is a fair price for him. He could go out there and put up 30 DraftKings points, but he could go out there and put 45, 80, 50, 45, 50. So definitely in play. Evan Fournier, 4,800. Reliable 80% of the time. He does his job well. He defends. He's a 3-and-D guy. He's a little undersized, but when his shot's falling, he's fantastic. He does have assist upside too. He's ball handling the ball a lot. He's primary playmaker, but with Markelle Fultz now, I guess that's over. But with DJ Augustine, Fournier had the ball in his hands a lot. So I'm still going to be considering Fournier at 4,800. Michael Carter-Williams and Melvin Frazier here are both questionable. So I don't really care about these guys in general. Aaron Gordon, on and off as always. I don't really like Aaron Gordon as a player. He's hit or miss. At 5,900, he could smash it for you, or he could be a dud. Between him and Vucevic, either or of these guys really have good games. Never really have good games together. So personally, I feel like Aaron Gordon would have the better game out of the two tomorrow. Vucevic would kind of have his hands full. But, I mean, I don't like Aaron Gordon just in general. I like his dunks, but I don't like him as a starting 5 player. I just never know. He's like a Wiggins. I don't know what Aaron Gordon I'm going to get. Terrence Ross, honorable mention, 3,900. If his shot's falling and it's hot, then you are not going to be happy that you don't have him. He could definitely go out there and smash it at 3,900. He could get 30 DraftKings points if his shot's falling. But he's a very streaky player and very shooting dependent. So not honorable mention. On the Dallas Mavericks side, Luka Doncic is my favorite player. He's been killing it to start the season. A real triple-double threat. The next Mr. Triple-Double in my opinion. Luka Mania is in full effect. His ownership is going to be pretty high. His price is finally climbing up now. 10K is still a reasonable price. He's still 6x value at 9,800. His usage is over 31%. So he's definitely someone I'm going to be considering tomorrow. Kristaps Porzingis, the other guy I'm going to be looking at. Both of these guys are in play, with Luka taking the cake for me. But Porzingis has been very steady and consistent. He's had some of his hiccups, but he's been playing really well, and he's only going to be getting better as he gets more minutes under his legs. Dwight Powell had a really bad game, but it was a really tough matchup against Love and Tristan Thompson. With Love and Tristan Thompson out of the equation and him going up against Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, Jonathan Isaac, Mo Bamba, I think it's a little bit of a better game. However, it's still a little bit risky for me, so I'm not going to have too much Dwight Powell. And an honorable mention to Boban, who played 2 games now, the last 2 games. He's a really efficient and PPM, point per minute monster guy. He can smash it in limited minutes, so definitely in consideration for me at 3,500. They might play him against Orlando, against Mo Bamba and Vucevic for sure. Boban's someone that plays in spurts. He doesn't play consistently. He plays a couple of games and then he'll go on the bench to recover. He is a big guy, so he needs a lot of rest. So right now it looks like he's good to go, and maybe he's going to be good to go. Keep an eye on the news. If he's good to go, I definitely like him, especially if Maxi Kleber is out. If Maxi Kleber is out, then Boban is definitely in play for me. The next game of the night, and probably one of the most competitive games in my opinion, is the 76ers versus the Jazz. The 76ers are going to have their star man Joel Embiid back, and he is too cheap, 9,500. If he's going to be getting 25, 28 minutes, then definitely he's in play for me. With Embiid back, it kind of reduces everybody's usage, and based on that, they're a little bit overpriced. However, Josh Richardson at 4,400 is fantastically priced so far. If any one of these guys gets into foul trouble or whatever, then Josh Richardson is definitely the guy that could get it done. His usage is not that great, but the minutes are fantastic. The price is fantastic, and he's been smashing it at this price so far this season. Granted, that was with 2 games without Embiid, or maybe 3, but definitely someone that could get it done. Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, all of these guys, their price is decent. It's fair. It's not like bonkers or anything. If I had to pick someone based on this matchup, I would go with Tobias Harris. Al Horford's going to spend a significant amount of his time on Gobert, as with Embiid. Ben Simmons is going to be with Spida and Conley. So Tobias Harris should be the guy that gets a little bit of a break here. However, Joe Ingles and Bogdanovich are going to be defending him. So there is no really easy matchup here, but Tobias Harris is the guy I'm going to be looking at most, aside from Embiid and Josh Richardson. Korkmark gets honorable mention. He's seen a real bump last 3 games, even before Embiid got suspended. With Embiid back, it will probably drop a little bit, but he's someone that's been very consistent in his limited minutes. He's really accepted his role off the bench, and someone that's trying to carve out a role for him as well. But Matisse Thybulle really hasn't been that great off the bench. So between Korkmaz and Mike Scott, those are the guys coming off the bench, and those are the guys I'd give most thoughts to. On the Utah side, Bojan Bogdanovic would be my favorite play, 5,700. He's yet to have his a monster game, but he's been having great game after great game. He's found his groove somewhat. The players are more used to playing with him now, so that's good for him. And he's really good against Philadelphia 76ers going back to last year when he was on the Pacers. He's definitely someone that has a really, really high ceiling. He's a very productive guy. His usage is still a little bit low right now, but it's only going to be increasing. I mean, 27% is not that low, but it should be higher in my opinion. He's just a guy that does a lot of things, so it's going to be going up in my opinion. But yeah, Bojan is definitely my most favorable play, followed by Donovan Mitchell, 7,800. I like him compared to some of the other point guards we have on the field. This is going to be a great matchup for him. Donovan Mitchell loves the spotlight. I could see him popping off here. The price is fair for the upside, and I much rather go with Fox than Donovan Mitchell because of the defensive matchup, but Donovan Mitchell does have the upside, and he's just as capable as Fox, so definitely consideration for me. Honorable mention to Rudy Gobert. It's a tough matchup. I'm not really too fond of Rudy Gobert here at 7,600. He could definitely get it done, definitely could win you a GPP, but just not someone I'm too keen on playing. His usage has been really low this season, so I'm not really too fond of him. Honorable mention to Tony Bradley. He's filling in for Ed Davis. He saw 25 minutes last game. He played decently well for his 25 minutes. So I don't mind sticking my hand in the cookie jar as a low punt option here. They might need him. They're going to need his size, definitely. And if any one of their guys get into foul trouble, then he's going to be one of the first guys off the bench. So he's definitely in consideration for me. I like the price. I love the minutes. I just don't like the matchup. Milwaukee versus Clippers, the last game of the night, and probably the one I'd be looking most forward to if Kawhi load management. I'm not even number 2. If number 2 was playing, I wouldn't mind it, but number 2 is load managing himself, so we got a problem. So starting with the Bucks, Giannis 100% in play for me. Incredible amount of usage from this guy. Nothing surprising though. He is the MVP of the league. 11-7 is kind of getting up there in price. However, we know what Giannis can do, but with no Kawhi there, it's kind of scary to play him at 12K. We saw in the previous game that they really didn't want to, go out there and risk Giannis like that. Sorry, not the game before that. Last game he did good, but 11-7 is kind of up there, and it does make me think a little bit, but probably if it's not Harden, it's going to be Giannis that's going to be the highest scoring guy on the slate tonight. So consideration based on that, but there's a lot of other guys I'd get to. Eric Bledsoe, he's played really well in the limited minutes he's been playing. He is starting, but we haven't seen nothing too crazy from him because he did come back from injury and does have injury history. So they haven't been going overboard with playing Eric Bledsoe. However, 6,300 is a fantastic price for him. He finally had a really good game in limited minutes last game. But yeah, in this spot, he's 26 minutes per game, 6,300 against Lou Williams, Pat Beverly. I don't mind him. I think he's in a decent spot. Definitely one of my more favorable bucks. Wesley Matthews, Chris Middleton would be the risky guys. Wesley Matthews is the risky play with a lot of upside. Chris Middleton's more safe, but the floor is low with Chris Middleton, and the ceiling's not that high. He rarely flashes his full potential. He's perfectly content just passing the ball up and letting the others do the offensive load while he really focuses on defense. However, he is someone that could go up there and put up 45 DraftKings points, get 6x value, especially in this matchup. So I don't mind Chris Middleton, but definitely not one of my more favorable plays. Between Ilyasova, DiVincenzo, these guys are coming off the bench. They've been, hitting their three-point shot, but they're very shooting dependent. DiVincenzo has huge upside. He's been great 2 of his last 3 games, so he's probably the guy I'll be looking to more than Ilyasova just based on the upside. However, Ilyasova is very safe. He's been getting 20 DraftKings points night in and night out. He hasn't had a blow-up game yet, but definitely could be in store for that, so definitely in consideration based on that. On the Clippers side, they don't have Kawhi Leonard, so not really too fond of Kawhi Leonard not playing or playing in any case. Maurice Harkless or J. Michael Green should get the bulk load of minutes here with Kawhi out. According to Jovan Buha, who is the beat writer for the Clippers, he said Maurice Harkless most likely would see the minutes increase here. Maurice Harkless definitely has a lot of upside. We've seen what he could do on the Portland Trailblazers last year, but definitely we also know that he could go out there and put up a dud, so I'm not too fond of him, but the 3,200 price point range is really, really enticing to me, and between him and J. Michael Green, I'm probably going to be playing one of those guys, whoever's going to be filling in for Kawhi. Lou Will, Montrezl Harrell are 2 safest guys I like on this team. Only real guys that are in consideration for me from the Clippers. Both of them come off the bench and have been consistent. Patrick Patterson has been playing a good amount of minutes, but he's been very garbage, limited. Even in the limited minutes he's been playing, he's been not that great. I don't even know what I just said. Sorry, there's people talking behind me. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, sorry. Starting over. Patrick Patterson has been starting and has been seeing a good amount of minutes compared to seasons past. However, he's been very limited and playing like trash. That's what we expect from Patrick Patterson. We don't really expect much offensive outbursts from this guy. Laundry Shaman has been very disappointing so far in this season, and I'm really expecting him to pick it up. So, one of these days he's gonna pick it up. He's gonna start making his shots. They're gonna start falling. He gets a lot of minutes, so I like him based on the minutes, and his floor is decent. The upside is there. It's just the usage has been lower, but with Kawhi out, he's definitely gonna see a bump there. And then Pat Beverly, like, I'd rather pay for some other point guards at 4,900 than pay up for Pat Beverly. And then honorable mention, I guess the honorable mention would go to J. Michael Green and Maurice Harkless, who I've already talked about. Both of these guys have been seeing minutes here and there. J. Michael Green, going back to last year, was one of the most productive guys off the bench for them. Between Lou Williams, Montrezl and J. Michael Green, they were a killer bench unit. Now with Maurice Harkless in the mix, Maurice is younger. He does have a better shot. It's just he's risky. So these guys are my honorable mentions. I will be getting to these guys for sure because Kawhi is out. I'm just gonna be waiting until I get more news. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's videos, guys. These are the guys I like. Let me know who your favorite plays are, if you like anybody in particular. If you have any lineup questions, if you want me to rate your lineup or just give you some critique, non-biased, just post it in the comment or message me on Twitter at Eyecee DFS. If you're still here and you haven't, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. Remember the voodoo. Woo, voodoo. Trust, man, I got the voodoo powers, bro. Anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. And until next time, best of luck tonight. Take care. Bye-bye.